Welcome back to pregame.tv. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, in studio with my partner in crime, Ken Thomson, SportsX Radio here, 720 on the AM dial in Las Vegas. Ken, we're going to kick things off, the weekend edition. Hockey. We've got game 5.
Your favorite sport.
Well, you know what? But I'll tell you what, everybody talked about, we just finished, obviously, we're taping on Friday, just finished the NBA Finals last night, right. Game 7, and a series that started out, 4 blowouts, and then, you get to game 6 and 7, and we had all of a sudden an instant classic.
Right.
But this hockey, I'm not a fan of hockey. I've said it many times, but you got to get excited about the way these two teams are playing. And I can tell you this much. It's a good thing I'm not a fan of hockey because, Ken, if you would have came to me before game 4 and told me, you know what, Boston's going to have 5 goals. And the way Rast has been in net, I would have bet the house on Boston.
No doubt. No doubt. How could you not? It's crazy. Tuukka Rask has been outstanding. Corey Crawford's been pretty darn good as well. And unfortunately for Boston, there was a Jonathan Toews sighting in the last game. He got a goal. He only had 1 goal in the playoffs prior, and that was a big concern for Chicago because he's one of their go-to guys, as they would say. He's the LeBron or the D Wade. He's one of those top 2 guys that has to come through. And I think Chicago really fed off him. And Boston showed the resiliency, twice coming back from 2 goals down and then 5-4 down. They tied it at 5. They just could never get that lead at home. And you got to give it to Chicago for having an answer every single time.
Well, it was a big game for Chicago. They tied the series. Now they go back to Chicago, game 5. After the high-scoring game, they still come out with the over-under on this game at 5 goals. I was looking at it today, and I looked at the betting in this game. Now, I know this is going to be your free pick, so we'll get to it in a second, but I don't know which way you're going. But I saw that total, and 60% of the action so far, bet-wise, number of tickets, have been coming in on the over, which you can understand the public. Sure. They handicap with their eyes, and they saw that 6-5 score, and now you got an over-under, again, a 5. They're going to jump on the over. That's not where the sharp money's coming in because I've seen it as high as minus 150 if you want to take 5 under in this one. That's a lot. That's some significant money to move the odds to that on laying the under.
Yeah, I'm not touching the total because I do respect there are enough goal scorers. There's enough stars that can put it in the net. And with hockey, you never know with deflections, screens, this and that. The goalies can be on their game. They can get beat because they didn't see something that went behind them. So I'm staying away from the total. I do appreciate the way both teams are playing, though. It's been a nice series so far to watch from a fan standpoint. 2 games apiece. It's where it should be.
Well, you know what? This is your free pick. Let's make it official,
There
Ken.
you go, with the Marco D'Angelo signature right there. And it is going to be Boston as my play. I had Boston in the last time that I came on and got a W plus 140. I think the line's somewhere around the same right there, plus 140 in Chicago, maybe 130. Either way, it's just great value. Tuukka Rask, yes, he gave up 6 goals. Backup goaltender, haven't even seen him in the playoffs. You won't see him tomorrow night either. In the Windy City, that place is going to be rocking. Chicago was hoping to gain the home ice advantage, get it back in their ice where 2 of the last 3 will be in Chicago. I don't know if it'll go 3. I think Boston has a chance to win it in 6 if they can take Game 5. And I know I'll tick off Chuck and a lot of the Blackhawk fans out there. They played a stellar game in Game 4 offensively. They were outstanding. But this is where Rask shows his moxie. Right now, he had given up 8 goals in the previous 7 games. In one of those games, an overtime loss, 4-3, he gave up 4 of those goals. So in the other 7 games, he had given up just 3 goals. I look for Tuukka Rask to get back on target. 11-3 in the playoffs in his last 14 games, all 3 losses in overtime. So to take Boston, again, they're not going to be favored. They're fighting the crowd. But Rask, to me, looks like he's much more focused on the road, that he doesn't rely on that crowd. He's just dialed in, and I think coming off a loss, you're going to get his best effort. Not that you haven't gotten it throughout the entire playoffs, but again, he's embarrassed. He gave up 6 goals, and a lot of those, they weren't his fault, but he's not going to shirk the responsibility. He said, hey, we should have been able to win that game. I should never give up 6 goals. So I'm going to look at him as the kingpin between the pipes. I'm going to look at Bergeron, Lucic. They've been hot. Chara needs to come up with a big goal. He's been physical. He's been logging close to 30 minutes a game, which is outstanding. More than 7 minutes over the next closest player, which is absolutely incredible for the big guy. So the value here is to take Boston. I like it. Not that it wouldn't surprise me if Chicago wins, but there's great value in taking a goaltender like Rask, especially off a loss. The last 2 times off a loss, 1 goal he gave up and a shutout. And I'm going to take the plus price around 140 is what I think it'll be. Boston plus 140. Again, great series. Can go either way, but I still like Rask over Crawford in this situation. Just too much value to pass up.
All right. Well, there you have it. Ken says to take Boston, getting a nice price with them, and Ken delivered a nice underdog last weekend for you. We're going to come right back here. We're going to go to baseball up next. We're going to go to L.A. at San Diego, going a little West Coast here for the next 2 baseball games. We'll be right back here on pregame.tv.